most companies, you don't launch with a product that's going to end up being successful for you. If you do, I guarantee you have some industry veterans on that team. But most of us, like the actual startups with no prior experience in the industry, you start with something and then you refine that, and then you probably pivot at a certain point and find product market fit in something slightly different than what you started with. And that's certainly the case with us and the case with many other brands. It's hard to get it right on your first try. We did things right in that we stayed really, really small in just a handful of stores through all these through each iteration of packaging, we were still in a handful of stores. So had we been in, say, a Target, you can't keep changing that quickly in a Target. You need a product that is already optimized optimized price-wise, packaging-wise. But we weren't there. So we were making all our little mistakes, or I don't even like the word mistakes, but we were going through each iteration on a very small scale. What you start with is not probably what's going to make you successful, and it is good to pivot, and you can't get too attached to certain things. We loved the jars, but we had to let them go. There were certain flavors we launched with that I loved. If they didn't sell, you have to discontinue them. So while your brand, it's like your baby, you've got to also try to be objective about certain things. And if it's not working, maybe it's time to rethink it. As painful as that can be. We had to really leverage our relationships with suppliers to increase our terms from like net 30 to net 90, and just say, listen, look, we're getting, we've been good to you guys. We're getting into Target. We are getting funding. Just please work with us. And fortunately, we had these great relationships. So we made it work just barely, but we pulled it off. It was. There's nothing easy about it, though. But you have to go through these things, and it definitely makes you stronger. And sometimes you get some benefits from it. We just knew that you don't get like multiple chances with a Target. So we knew this was a crazy opportunity, and that sort of thing, that's not normally how you get into Target. You don't normally get into all of the stores. They usually do a test. So this was the biggest thing besides getting into Whole Foods. This is the next big thing for the business, and we knew we would just have to. We're not going to take no for an answer. We're going to figure out a solution. You just have to. There's nothing else. So we found a way. We were lucky to have friends and family that believed in us and understood that this was a real opportunity, and we had to make it work. Mm-hmm. We just had to. So there's certain stores where maybe it doesn't make sense to sell our products. Maybe it's not going to speak to that customer. But so we've really focused. We started with really focusing on owning the natural channel before we got too many meetings with more conventional retailers. And now we've expanded into that. But we've also said no to stores when a store says, oh, sure, I'll take like one of your items. That's not going to set you up for success. So we're careful about making sure we're getting at least several items and a nice brand block and a good placement, because that part really matters and it's critical. And you've got to fight for that. Our strategy was never like a mile wide, inch deep, but like mile deep, inch wide. Like, let's make sure that we have a really great success story with a few retailers and not just get in everywhere, but then not sell that much. So we really focused first on kind of the Whole Foods and the Targets and the Sprouts, and making sure that was successful and seeing like what worked there before we just tried to get in everywhere, because not everywhere is going to be a good fit. And it's definitely, you see entrepreneurs talking about like, I'm in X number of like retailer doors. I just think I don't love that metric, because I care more about like how well we're selling in the key accounts we're in. I just wanted to be really careful to make sure we had the capacity, that we had the right items, and that we could make a really big success story. So just focusing on those key retailers and building great partnerships with them is something we're still all about. Just being very strategic about what stores are going to be the right fit at the right time, and which ones you have to say, thank you, not yet, but let's stay in touch. Yep. It's going to be the right time. And, you just got to be patient and not too, it's tempting to try to get in everywhere, but I just don't think that's the way to do it. You want to be very careful. some of the biggest mistakes we've made were when we just didn't trust our gut. Because if you're the entrepreneur, you start the company, you know better than anyone else, and people are going to try to tell you, do this, do that. But sometimes you just have to trust your gut, even if it seems irrational. You got to stay true to your brand and can't let other people tell you what it should be or how to change it. If it's working, it's working.